Hi everybody and welcome to the Trisbrina Show. I'm the Tris.
And I'm the Sabrina, and this is Mr. No.
Welcome to the show, a new you in 2022. But we want to get real, people. You know, everybody's starting to talk about New Year resolutions. It's that time. Oh, I'm going to do this in the new year, and I'm going to be this, and I'm going to create that. And those are beautiful intentions, and those are beautiful goals, and we hope that you're focusing on as much as we are. But we know a thing or two about the matrix. We're going to get into the matrix today.
Let's just tell the truth.
Let's tell the truth. Let's get real.
The truth is that for most people, it's just going to be the same old you in 2022.
It's true.
Right? And
Sounds
unless,
harsh.
well,
Yeah.
this is the truth.
Because people loop in their stories, right?
Right, and that's what we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about the brain. We're going to talk about why when somebody wins the lottery, for example, that very well-known statistic, right? They win the lottery. If they were in poverty before, they're going to lose it all in return to that. And why somebody that's a gazillionaire loses everything or gains it back. Or why when somebody is healthy and then maybe has an injury, are they able to overcome that and return to health? Like what is that? What's happening? What allows for these changes? What allows for the upgrades, and what can we do in areas of our lives that we would like to see blossom and flourish in 2022? Is it more health? Is it something with a relationship? Is it something with financial abundance? Is it creativity? Is it, if you're thinking like, gosh, I kind of just want to stop worrying, I want to stop nagging, I want to stop obsessing. Well, then what's the flip side of that? And then what do you want? So it's a complicated matrix, but you can do this, and we're going to help you in tonight's show.
Yes, we are. So we're going to talk about the brain, like Sabrina said. So why don't we jump right in?
Jive right in.
Let's just jive, baby. So many of us, years ago, probably got into affirmations, and we got into visualization, and probably you've created more than one vision board in your life. And it's not that these things don't work. They do. But it has to do with where we're coming from and what we're doing in our brain and in our energy state that either makes it work or not work. Because why is it, for some people, they said, I wrote it down. I wrote down my goal and it came true. I put these images up on a vision board and I really, wanted it more than anything. And it didn't come true. Like, what's going on in our energy, in our brain, that it's hit and miss? And how do we get this to be a surefire thing? So let's talk about the brain. Let's talk about the programming that takes place at a very young age. And we're going to liken this to building a home. In fact, I think we should start with a photograph.
All right.
We were taking a walk the other day, and our neighbor is, or somebody who's
Down the
about to
block.
be a neighbor,
Down the block.
is building a home. And we were looking at the structure, the foundation, and there's no walls yet. You're about to see it. The planks that are going up. Let's take a look at this and let's use this as a great analogy.
The design that's going up, the ideas. Where will the garage be? Where will the front door be? What will we put in this room? Who will live in that room?
So there it is.
What will the roof look like? Where will the water flow?
Okay. So you want to talk a little bit about what you see here, Sabrina?
Well, what I see is a very evolved design. Even though it's so incomplete, there's a lot of structures in place based on thought. We could put this extra slant right here to the roof. That would look interesting. We could make this corridor narrow and then it open up into there, and we could get the morning sunlight here. So there's a lot, way more ideas than you may see, instead of just saying, they're building a house, it's a bunch of planks. How much design, how much architecture, how much measuring, how much brain power has gone into getting it to this point? And what we're gonna keep on talking about is, what if you see something that would make it better? Then what do you do? And can you improve upon a design? And what is making this particular design happen? And we're talking about everything in our own lives when we're looking at these planks and this design and this house that's being built, because we're building our reality all the time. We're building the reality of our health, our relationships, our financial abundance, everything in our lives. We are building with our thoughts.
Yeah, I love seeing this. As we were walking along, I was looking at the structure, like you're saying, the planks going up, and I was like, oh, this is how we build networks in our brain. This is how we create thoughts that wire together. They're like little like neurons, right? And they wire and fire together, and they create belief systems. They create programs. So it's software in the hardware of the brain that through repetition create these homes, these little homes, and you build upon them, and you get this personality. You get this way of living. So if you look at all the planks, we'll pull the picture up again in a minute. Think of them as like nerves or thoughts that are starting to wire together. Let's look at it right here again. You see how they're starting to come together, like down in here. These planks are wiring themselves to this structure, which is an important pillar piece, right? And of course, we have to have the foundation to build everything upon. And we started talking about life and how is a human life created. Well, if you go back to the original template, because that's like a blueprint, right? Somebody came along, the builder, the designer said, hey, homeowner, what do you think about this template? What do you think about this blueprint?
And
Does
it
this seem good?
just a drawing.
That came from our parents. Our parents already had a template that was passed down to them from their parents. And then the building started to take place. And so now we start to lay on top of that young child, that impressionable child, different thoughts, different ways of seeing the world, different ways of thinking about things. And they started to create walls. They started to create structure on that initial template that was handed over to them. And over time, those thoughts start to wire together and they start releasing into the body feelings. And emotions are how we read our thoughts and our feelings. You know, we start to have these emotions that are either supporting us or not.
Yeah. Yeah, so when you look at a structure and you think, oh well, if I compare that to neural networks in the brain, like maybe there's only a few planks. And we're not saying, hey, could you move that arrow off my head?
Oh yeah, you don't need that there.
I mean, yes, it should be all about me, but I don't need the
It's
arrow.
pointing right at your head.
You can use this to your advantage, right? So you can put the planks where you want them. You can think the thoughts that you want to think. You can move the planks. But when I saw the house, I had this little image flash by me. And it was like, oh, wow. When I have an idea, something I want to shift, or maybe it's something I want to create, it kind of starts out like just a path, like in a field, and the grass gets maybe kind of beaten down, and then it becomes just a little dirt path that maybe somebody else could see, maybe not. And then I keep doing that same belief and that same pattern and going back and forth because this is something I really want. And then it becomes definitely like a path that other people could walk on. And then maybe it gets paved. And then maybe it becomes a super highway. And that's when it's just getting bigger and bigger and bigger and thicker and thicker and thicker. So it's not just about how much support you have in the brain, but it's the strength of it. Right. So sometimes if we're talking about a habit that we want to let go of, you can say, gosh, I've been trying to let go of that pattern for a half a day and it's not gone. Right. Well, but if you've been doing that for years, it's a super highway. And then you got to break, it just might take a minute to break it down and to let go of that. And sometimes the easiest way, just think about transportation. If the fastest way from A to B is on that highway, so that's the way I've been going, and I'm like, I don't want to do that anymore, then I've got to make a reroute. I've got to start getting there a different way. I've got to start going somewhere else. I have to start paving a new path and ignoring that other one. And by ignoring it, just like if you were to ignore a house, the planks would eventually start to rot, fall down. It would go away because the focus has moved to something else.
So in neuroscience, that's called atrophy and disentanglement. So like we said earlier, and Sabrina just explained so clearly, when you keep going down that path, when you keep firing those same thoughts, you're creating the strength, the thickness of those nerve cells, and they're wired together. And so those belief systems are actually deeply rooted within the mind, within the brain, and therefore the mind. So the subconscious is like 95% responsible for everything that takes place in our life. That's the deep program. And the conscious mind is responsible for about 5%. So we have these new ideas, these new goals, these new intentions. But if we're only using the conscious mind, that 5%, we're never going to be able to shift the focus to build a new room, to create an add-on, to tear a wall down, right? Tear a wall down, like get rid of a neural network that's not supporting us. So we really, really have to be mindful of getting into the subconscious layer. And there's no better way to do that than to be in the present moment. An art like meditation or a moving meditation, something that helps really put you into the moment where you are dropping down into the blueprint. So let's think about this for a second. You want to change the house. You can go back to the designer, the builder, and say, hey, this is the blueprint you built from. Can we recreate something here? Look at it. You know, here's where the supporting structures and pillars are. Can we remove this pillar and take that wall out and open the space up and create a different feeling in the home? Can we add on over here? Will the supporting structure, the foundation, hold this? Will this work? So we have to go into that blueprint to make real change. But most people never go there because they're so top level in their desires and their 2022 new. And so you go starting to try to add things onto the house, and it's like covering it up with wallpaper on rotting wood or on a structure that doesn't support that new vision. It falls down. And that's the problem. So when we said, let's get real, let's talk about how do we make real change? We actually have to do some work. We've got to actually take a deeper look at what is keeping us looping in those neural networks and belief systems that we don't love. And to be able to identify what they are and stop focusing on them, right?
Because here's something that's super fascinating to me is addiction.
Right.
And being addicted, we are addicted to thoughts. And how amazing if you're addicted to being happy and joyful and forgiveness and gratitude and positivity. That's what you want to be addicted to.
Heck yeah.
But a lot of thought addictions are that we become addicted to stress. Now, why would we do that? Well, because when the body is under stress, you get that fight or flight turned on and you get this adrenaline rush and you actually feel a little bit more energy for a minute, even though it feels frantic or it feels anxiety
I'm gonna
or
conquer
it
that
feels
thing.
scary or it feels like I don't know what I'm going to do. And all the blood, all of your energy goes to the extremities so you can run or so you can fight. And maybe for a moment, like you're not thinking because your body is in the go, go, go. And even though it isn't pleasant, there can be an addiction to that because that's the only time sometimes we feel alive when we're really stuck in a rut is to recreate that stress because that level of stress means we're still alive. And we don't quite know who we would be if we didn't have that. I remember thinking decades ago, I had this misunderstanding, like I don't want to be a blob. You know, I don't want to work hard for this. I don't want to be an unfeeling blob. I don't want to not feel. And I was misunderstanding. It's not like don't have the anxiety and be a blob. It's like that example that I use all the time, that emotion is running like a river of energy, and you can take what feels like anxiety and you can shift that energy into great joy and a great attitude and towards positivity. And then from that different energy, your thoughts will change. And from changing your thoughts, your emotions will change. It isn't about numbing out, withdrawing from, getting boring, being mediocre. I really misunderstood that. I wanted to feel something. And so I think sometimes my anxiety helped me to feel that stress I put myself under, until I realized, yes, I do want to feel. I want to feel a lot of freaking joy and happiness and playfulness. Let me swing it even further.
Well, I think we've all been addicted to certain emotions, right? and we want to overcome them, and we wonder why sometimes they're so hard to change. There's actually, in addition to the nerves firing together, and I'm sure many of us have learned these principles. I hope you have. And if you haven't, you might want to read a book called Molecules of Emotion by Candace Pert. It's a brilliant study on how we become chemically addicted to thoughts. Because when those nerves fire in the brain, they start to release something called neuropeptides. And those neuropeptides, those molecules of emotion, run down through the body, through the bloodstream, and they attach on cell receptor sites. And they give that cell a shot, literally a shot of the thing it's addicted to.
Mm-hmm.
And so if that's a poisonous thought and you're dumping that chemistry into your body, that cell goes, like an addict. I just got my fix.
Yep.
And so because we become chemically addicted, it's very, very difficult to change that addiction unless we have not only the discipline, but the understanding of what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And when you have the understanding, you'll have the desire to change the brain. So it's brain, it's chemistry, and we'll talk about energy a little bit. So what do? Well, the first thing is to recognize I want something different. And oftentimes to know that what we don't want is really helpful to help us know what we do want. So if you've been taking an evaluation of 2021, I'm sure there's a lot of things that we all can look at and go, I don't want no more of that, right? Been there, done that. What's the alternative? What's the flip 180 to what I would love? And then we feel into that. And why feel? Feelings are everything. Let me just give you one more analogy that goes with this. You're the home owner. Okay, the homeowner. You're not the builder. You're not the contractor. You're not the person who has to do all of the work. Think about this for a second. How much work is that going to take to turn that into a beautiful home? A lot, right? You don't have to do that. Your subconscious, beautiful subconscious mind is the contractor and the builder.
Whether you want it to be or not.
It's going to build the house, but it's going to build the house based on the blueprint. Now, who picked the blueprint? The homeowner. They looked through the catalog and they said, that looks like the kind of house we'd like to build. And then they start envisioning, right? And you get with your person, you're like, oh, that would be great. We could have a big kitchen. Yeah, you're my person. We could have that spiral staircase, and we could finally have the saltwater pool that we wanted because look, it's got space. We can have a 3-car garage. Oh my God. It starts feeling great, and you start building based on the blueprint what you want. But the feelings are what the owner is responsible for, and the building, because we all think, oh, I got to build it and I don't know how. And you actually don't have to worry so much about that part. Get the emotions, like Sabrina said, the energy, the river flowing, so that you, when you're tapping into the state of now and you start to feel your vision, you are now emitting the perfect signal into the field that will call into your life all the organizing pieces for you to have the better health. The perfect gym will show up for you. Somebody will gift you in this way. This person will, the coach will show up. You know how it works. But it was based on a reflection of what you were feeling. So as we move into 2022, ask yourself, what do I want to feel? What do I want to experience? Right? Let's go into that.
And when you know what you want to feel, that's so powerful because you're saying to consciousness, you're saying to source, this is what I desire. This is what I would love. Let's be in partnership of that. And then it's about listening and being aware and being receptive, because it's not a one-way conversation, right? It's not your connection to information is not, I'm going to put in my order and then I just have to sit around and wait and I don't know if it was received. There should be a reply and an answer. Like if you email somebody, they should email you back. And when you get that information back, when you're thinking, I think using the house as an analogy, I think I'm ready to expand that room back there. That feels really right for me. If you are present to your life and listening and aware there will be something random that happens, or some coincidence, or some synchronicity that will crack you up, and you will know, all right, I get it. To like, I'll tell you one crazy one that happened to me years ago. And I'm going to share this particular one because it's just so weird. Okay.
Here we go.
So
And she's got plenty of them, so I'm sure this will be a good one.
Right,
I have no idea what the story is.
I was really wanting to be healthy. Like, I mean, that sounds silly. One of my students, I said the other day, I'm on a health kick, and they're like, "When are you not?" But like, what can I do? How can I go beyond? I'm really gonna like get so healthy. And I was probably like 25, and everyone was talking about garlic and about how garlic is this natural antibiotic, and if you can just put so much of it in your system, you're going to be invincible. And so a bunch of my friends at the time, they were roasting bulbs of garlic and then taking, what would you call it, a clove, and squirting it out and putting it on a piece of toast and eating it for breakfast. And the goal was to eat like an ounce of garlic a day, either raw or baked. And so I'm like,
real quick insert, garlic is, by the way, really good for us.
Yeah.
But not for everyone.
So I was doing it, and everyone's like, I'm feeling so much better. I mean, we can't be close to each other because we freaking smell. And then I'm like in dance class, and they're like, port de bras, the arms, and people are like, pew, what is that? Because I'm sweating garlic. I taste it in my tongue is swelling. I just don't feel good. And I'm like, okay, I need more garlic. I'm not doing well. Let me up it. Let me have even more. And I remember kind of thinking like, what's going on? I'm so 100%. I'm really trying to be good. I'm trying to take care of the temple. What's up? And I fell asleep, and I had this lucid vision. And I'm there, and another one of me walks into the room and walks over to me, and the second me is carrying something. And I look at what they're carrying, and I'm carrying my colon. And like it goes up and around and down, and I'm carrying my colon and showing it to myself. And right where it bends down, which I was having a lot of pain on this, I feel like it was on the lower right side. It was bright red, and it was inflamed, and there was a big clove of garlic in it. And I said to myself, the garlic is hurting me. This is so weird. So the colon said that to me, actually.
Well, who is this though? It's the subconscious mind.
Yes, and so the colon said, this is really hurting me, and it showed me where it was irritating, and said, garlic is good for most people, but for you in particular, this isn't a good protocol. And then that second me turned around and carried my colon out of the room, and then that was the end of the vision. And I remember thinking like, oh my gosh, like, well, first of all, how freaking creative can you get to send me that message?
How amazing.
And so I stopped doing that, and I immediately started feeling better. And now I have found out that there's something I actually have, like when I eat garlic, my tongue swells up, like when some people eat strawberries or peanuts. And I actually have like this allergic reaction. So at least it taught me about that. But how about that kind of information coming back at you to know where you should go, what you should do, what you should build, what you should add on, what you should take away. And I was meditating a lot, and I was moving my body, and I was in that state of
You were meditating
asking.
a lot
I was
as well.
meditating. That's what I said.
Yeah, that's what she said. So let's look at the formula for a minute. We got to get out of the past, and we actually need to get out of what we project onto the future, which is usually the past thrown into the future.
Mm-hmm.
So the past is the old story, the old template, the old blueprint for the home that served its purpose, most likely up until now. And you're ready for an expansion.
Yep.
Right?
Totally.
And so in order for that expansion to take place, We do not want to come from a place of this isn't enough, I don't like this anymore, and running away, trying to get into a new future.
Yeah. Or thinking I've put so much work into this so far, to
Yeah.
start over, I'll feel behind, because that's what I felt like with the garlic. I've done this. Hey, man, I've committed. It's been like 3 weeks. You want me to quit? And so I could see that if you have plans for your house and then you get the guidance that it should be different, you could feel like, did I waste time? And it's not that at all.
Sometimes you can build onto the home because what you have already is awesome, right? Let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater concept. Like, it's a beautiful home. I think I can do an add-on, or I could open up the walls a little bit. Like, take a look at your life right now and see all the places that you really love, right? Now, some people need a tear down. Granted, that story, that template, that blueprint that was passed on from the parents wasn't that great. You know, it's got a lot of limitations to it.
Yeah.
And so we need a rebuild. And that all that means is you just need to start focusing in a new way and building something that is truly aligned with who you are. So how do we get into knowing who we truly are? We got to get out of the past, got to get out of the future, and get into the now. So the formula so far is identify when you're out of the moment, which for a lot of folks, you know, we're pulled in a multitude of directions and we have stories that we're looping in, and we need something to pattern interrupt and pull us into the here and now. So ask yourself, am I fed up with that? And am I fed up with projecting and creating the same old, same old? Because look, so many people, they said in 2020, I'm going to have a new 2021. And guess what? They duplicated 2020. Granted, life and the world has been very wonky, but their thoughts ran the same programs, even with good intentions in the beginning of 2021. So they missed something. We all do it. We missed something. The root program stayed the same. The top level conscious mind had some great ideas, but we didn't change the neurology. So what do? Through meditation, this is key. Through meditation, you start to shift and change your brain waves. You start to go into slower brain waves that allow you to drop into the subconscious layer where you can truly rewrite the story. And this is why things like hypnosis work, because you get put into alpha and maybe even drop in deeper to theta brainwave states, and you start upgrading the story. Basically, what you're doing is you're moving away from those neural networks that you don't care for, and you're starting to build new ones. And like Sabrina said, the more consistently we can walk those paths, the more we carve them out.
Right. Because when you repeated a thought pattern long enough, like I said earlier, and it becomes a highway, it is a belief.
That's right.
It's truer than true.
Yep.
So when somebody says, I have a limited belief about something, all that means is I've thought that enough times while feeling emotion that I so believe that it's true. It has nothing to do with truth. It has nothing to do with facts. All it has to do is there's a highway in my brain that I've thought this many times that this is true. Therefore, it's true for them. Right. And you can take that towards something desirable or something less desirable. Right. So I'm spending a lot of my time these days actively building some super highways of beliefs and ways of thinking that support the highest version of myself. And I'm focusing on using those highways. And some of the old ones, they've become little dirt roads. Therefore, if I get kind of thrown for a second and I'm over there in an old thought pattern, it's hard. It's hard. It's not paved. It's gravelly.
It's not a superhighway.
It's not fast, and it's so uncomfortable. So that is very common, that when more and more of your time is spent in a place of joy and thoughts that you do love, that when you get knocked into some kind of mood that used to be normal for you, but now it's kind of rare, that it hurts more.
That's the beauty of that contrast.
It hurts a lot more. It's way more uncomfortable.
Let's dive into your superhighway analogy, because I think the next big light bulb moment is, who is creating your new future? Who is creating it? So let's take a minute. And so, okay, if I get into the now and I get into meditation, I can upgrade my thoughts and I can change it at the subconscious layer, and then I can have this truly new life that sticks. Well, I think the greatest ideas that ever come to us come from being connected to source. You could say God, the divine, your higher intelligence, you're merging into the field.
Yeah.
So in meditation, it's not just like a little 5-minute quickie. I'm going to just get into my meditation zone and see what comes up for me. We got to go way deeper than that. So this is Satori method, by the way, in case you're new to our work. Satori means awakening of your consciousness. So when you go so deep into that place, how do you even say it with words, where you are connecting to the source of all that is. You are in the quantum field and you're connecting to the divine.
And you're in the unknown and you're okay with that.
Since you were birthed from that source energy, it's like going home. And so the ideas, the insights, the intentions that start bubbling up, sometimes they feel like downloads that drop onto you, and sometimes they feel like uploads that come from your soul center. Whatever direction they come from, they light up your brain and you get new vision. What we like to call it is in-vision, I-N, vision. You go inside yourself to get the clarity of what the soul wants. Now, when it's in alignment with soul, when it's in alignment with the divine, you have the most incredible conquering force behind you, within you, driving you. You don't fall off because the inner drive is so powerful. It is so strong because it's coming from your truth. Lisa Nichols says, you know, like you know, like you know. And there's nothing greater than knowing. There's knowledge and information and coaching and discipline, and then there's knowing. And knowing kicks ass over anything else that there is. It is the ultimate driving force that keeps you on your path. So if you truly go deeply in meditation and you connect to that divine field, you will be shown what is absolutely aligned for you. And from that place, we are badass manifestors. We are creators of consciousness. And I would suggest that we all do that moving into the new year so that when we're intending, we're soulfully intending. Nothing can compare to that in my experience.
Yep.
Nothing. There you go. That's the formula.
And if I kind of reflect for a moment while Tristan was talking about on what do I
align and love,
just know, like I know, like that thing is about myself, is I know I am going to choose the most loving and kind thing. I am going to choose the thing that's most aligned, even if it isn't logical, even if it isn't convenient, because that is a part of me now, because I've chosen that. That's my superhighway. I'm going to choose that, and I'm going to put into place in my life practices that support that. And then if I know one other thing, and it's why this relationship is so beautiful, is I know that Tristan's going to do that. And we can rest knowing most of the time it's going to be the first go, sometimes not, right? So if there's some kind of like, I know it's just a matter of waiting, whether it's in me or in Tristan. It's like, oh, okay. Well, I know, like I know that the choice is going to be love, and the choice is going to be how can I be bigger, because that's what we're married to. That's what we've devoted our freaking lives to, no matter what.
That's
and
right.
That feels so amazing when you can rest with that in yourself. And then when you do catch yourself, whatever, maybe it's the traffic or I'm hungry and stuff. It's just,
I'm tired.
You can almost giggle and just go like, yeah, come on, you don't fool me. Because I know what you love. And I know you're going to be on the super highway. You're not going to stay on this dirt road. So it's just a matter of building the house of your dreams. And the house of your dreams is the one that's in alignment with who you are. But you're not done. Right? The house always has room for improvement and expansion because we are evolving beings. And that's the whole purpose of having this physical reality and this physical body. The worst thing you can do is go, I'm done. My house is finished.
I'm content.
I'm just going to, stay here on my couch with my crocheted Afghan.
I'm going to retire now.
Yeah, and watch soap operas all day.
Challenge yourself. Keep expanding. Keep growing. Bring that highest version of you out in 2022. Every year should be better than the previous year, in my opinion, because you're still evolving, you're still growing, you're still expanding. You know, even as we enter in deeper to the divine, I think you feel more sense of freedom. And freedom lends itself to abundance because this is an unlimited universe. So there's less scarcity of health, less scarcity of wealth, less scarcity of love. There's a connection to the divine. That to us is the modern day mystic, is someone who keeps expanding into more, keeps finding new ways to be of service, new ways to love, new ways to expand this beautiful life. It's so exciting. So we're very excited about 2022. So all you have to do is catch that thing that throws you back into the past, or the thing that starts projecting negativity into, oh my God, worry and the anxiety, right? And bring yourself back into the moment and do that consistently every day and go deep and listening skill. Meditation is about listening and allowing and being revealed that which your soul loves. And then take that power, and as you open your eyes and you come back into this now, don't jump right back into the past. Don't jump right back into the old neural networks. You got to stay in the now so that you can start laying down those new pathways. This is what I loved about tonight's conversation is we're talking about the soul, we're talking about the divine, and we're also talking about what's going on between our ears. And we've got to learn how to understand these things. Knowledge is the precursor to experiences. You want new experiences, you got to understand what's going on.
And because the brain is such a sponge, you know, for me, I choose what I listen to, what I look at, the communities that I'm in, the social media that I check out, the classes that I attend, the way that I engage in a chat, the way that I respond to somebody who has poured their heart out. Like, all of it matters. All of it matters. You can use the environments that you put yourself in on purpose to help lift you up, right? And for me, just awareness on what environments do I put myself in that I struggle to stay who I want to be, and maybe I don't need to be in those.
So good.
You know, like this conversation with those of you here, that means we're very like-souled. We're like-minded and like-souled.
Yes.
Listen to this kind of conversation.
Right.
Because you know what's happening right now? You're strengthening certain neural networks by the thoughts you are having right now. Right now. Your beliefs are being formed right now. You're choosing, some things are being weakened and some things are being strengthened.
That's it.
And keep listening and keep watching and keep doing things that help you to be the most beautiful version of you, the happiest, most joyful version of yourself. And if you kind of get stuck in a thing, you know, that you don't want to be in, go and listen to something that's uplifting. Go and do do a qigong class. I mean, sometimes I tell you, I went through times that sitting down by myself meditating was really challenging because I would just sit there.
We don't teach that, by the way.
What?
Just sitting down. We always tell you guys, move first. Get the emotional
body.
energy moving.
That's why, you know, qigong and the way that we approach, like with our fitness fusion class, some of the ways to get rid of the energy that kind of you don't want. Yeah, you just you let it go, and then you're left with an emptiness that you can shift towards what you want. That old saying, like, you become like the 5 people you hang out with. Well, and I think they said that the original statement was about success and money. But it's more than that. It's, you know, what you listen to, like we were talking the other day about late night TV and like what we're watching and
why is this?
And watching things that, like, I will not watch a horror movie because my brain will replay it. And if we're watching something that has anything scary in it, I close my eyes because I don't want to see it. I don't want to see it. I don't want that in my brain. Just taking that much responsibility for this beautiful, beautiful brain that is so brilliant, and it's capturing what you see through your eyes and what you hear.
And you're feeding your
brain.
And
it's creating, it's like eating it. You're eating what you listen to and what you watch.
The 5 people analogy is like 5 nerves firing together, and you're wiring those types of thoughts,
Mhm.
that's why your environment affects you, right? Those people's thinking processes affect your thinking processes, and therefore you change and become more like that. So we're a big, beautiful network here. I want to say thank you to all the incredible comments that have been coming through. Yep, we've gotten tears tonight.
Aw.
We've gotten what a great convo. Thank you, Debbie. Christina, beautiful each and every day, not just the new year. Boom, right on, Joe. Super highway of love, says Debbie. Susan Ramson's here. Hi, Susan. She says, we do know what we know, and it does work itself out. Nancy says, beautiful to have your spouse on the same page. Super highway of
Such
love.
a gift, right, Nancy?
Christina's like, oh my, crying. This has really touched me today. Thank you for the inspiration. Hi, Joanna. Just a lot of beauty coming through. So thank you, everyone. Thank you, Kathy. That's it for tonight. That's the Trisbrina Show. I think that this was really important information for all of us heading into the new year and into every day. This is a way of living.
Mhm.
Cool. All right. What type of music would you like, my dear? Oh, she has a song for you. She has a special song ready to go. Does it require singing?
Well, I think it's time for dancing. La 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 la.
Reason to be jolly.
La 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 la. I like you, Sabrina. Can I give you a quick kiss? Oh, she's a real hottie. All right, everybody. Have a great rest of your day. Much love. Bye.